Hi guys, thanks for tuning in today on my review or ride review. We're going to get out and do a ride review on the Suzuki SX250, so that should be interesting. What I will tell you at the moment, since I picked it up yesterday, first thing I've done now is I've got rid of the low seat, which I bought for an optional $100, and we are now back on stock seat. Now, my thoughts on it before you go any further: if you're thinking about buying a low seat, if you think you got no choice, it's a cheap option for $100, but the ride is a little bit firm, and if you can manage to handle the stock seat, well, that'd be the way I'd go, because it's a lot more plush, and I think it'll be a lot better seat to ride on compared to that brick. You know, the other way I thought of the low seat, just buy yourself or go around the yard, pick up a brick, slap that to it and ride on top of that. So that'd be the cheap way out of that way, and it'd save you $100. So apart from that, you know, before we get out on today's ride on this bike, there will be people that will want to know the specs on the bike. So, you know, if you know anything about these Suzuki SX250s, what you get is a 250 motor, front and rear wheel, 26 horsepower, and that should be enough to propel you along the road on a run in up to 100 kilometres an hour. And then once you run it in, I think it'll cruise quicker. We'll, you know, sort of supermind out in that line. So you've got a 17-inch rear, you've got a 19-inch front, you've got tubeless tyres, and you've also got alloy type wheels. Now, I know later on somebody's going to come along and say, I'd be better with spoke wheels. Why don't they just give you the bike and you buy the spoke wheels yourself? You know, like if you're that sort of inclined, you don't want to pay the price. You expect sometimes when you're out here doing these bikes too much for what you're paying. You're not paying much for this, $64.50, so that's what you get. So I mean, when I've been doing tests on the Enfield, they'd say, oh, it's a pity it never come with tubeless tyres. So if I go tubeless tyres, in most cases you've got to go alloy wheels. And if you go alloy wheels, then they'll say to you, oh, it's no good on the dirt or in the rough stuff because they'll crack. So really, when you're doing these sort of things, or you're putting a bike together for the mass to come along and enjoy it at a cheap price, it's very hard to please anyone. And the only ones that sort of comment on that stuff would expect a $20,000 bike for $6,490, and those people aren't going to buy it anyway, because for one, they've probably got no money, and two, they're just there talking or throwing the keyboard around to see what they can come up with. Well, that's my thought on that anyway. So as far as that goes, I'm back to a normal seat height now of 835. I'm going to take this bike out, I'm going to run it around town, and I'm going to give you a good honest review, because you know, like, I'm not showing any favouritism towards Suzuki. I got onto them yesterday on the first clip, letting them know I wasn't that happy about the fact they sent me a yellow one when I pre-ordered and paid a deposit up front for the red. But that's old news now, and today we sort of get into it and take it out, and I can give you a good honest review, and more importantly, if you're on the fence thinking about buying one of these, I'll be able to tell you whether or not to hold on to your money or buy something better. So that is the idea of it. It'll be virtually a no-holds-barred review on it, so I'm out there to give you a good honest thing, because it won't worry me, I've got plenty of rides, so I'm not out here to say, oh, this is my only ride and I've got to get on here and give you a good review to help me out. Doesn't worry me whatsoever. The bike's no good, next week you'll see it on Gumtree, so simple as that. So it's got to perform when it goes out there. So I've got to think I've either got me money or I'm not going to live with this heap of crap. So that's the way I look at things when I'm buying it. But at this stage, you know, the overall fit and finish of the bike is really good. I think I like how it's really put together. It's a pretty good looking bike for the price. So got a crappy looking exhaust on it, I must admit. But then again, you know, somebody might say they might bring out a, what do they call them, Acropobic or some bloody crap. But who wouldn't want to put $1,000 exhaust on a bike that costs $6,500? I mean, you must be. I wouldn't put it on a good bike, let alone waste money, because over the years I've had a lot of trouble with exhausts, and they're all right. You get a good, nice, loud exhaust, and they're all right for the first few rides, and then after that you get sick of listening to them, and you just don't want to hear it in your ride with earplugs, so you don't have to listen, and you let everyone else hear it except you, because you don't care. You're trying to block the noise and give it to them. So apart from that, I think what will surprise you, and I might do this now, I might bring over the Classic 350 and just show you, like, this Suzuki SX250 is a lot bigger bike than what you think. Now, I had a bit of problems with weight on this bike One place gave me a quote, it was 176 kilos. Back at the Suzuki site they say 167. So if we call it around 170, because someone doesn't know what they're talking about and I can only go on specs, what I've been read about it. Say if we say 170, that's about 25 kilos lighter than a classic 350 reborn. Now I'll bring that bike over and you can have a look at both together. So here we are looking at my classic 350 reborn, and I must admit what a nice looking bike it is too, but you know I'm a bit biased towards Enfield, and in actual fact in 2 weeks time I'm going down to Penrith, I'd say, and I think I'll buy the Hunter 350. So that's the idea, but that's another story and that's 2 weeks away. But if I swing back now, look how big this Suzuki SX250 is. Now it's a 250, this one's a 350, this one here weighs 195 kilos, this one here say 170 to be safe, so it's 25 kilos heavier on this bike, and this little 350 looks bigger. Now if you say, well, what about if you bought the 500? Wouldn't make any difference. The 500 is the same weight in a classic 500 as what the 350 is. And even if you put this one up, as far as a better comparison would be if you had a Honda CB500X. I really don't think it's that much smaller than a Honda CB500X, maybe a little bit narrow on the profile, but you know, that's four 500Xs and I got a rough idea how big they are, and this almost feels like it's one of those. So, you know, if you're riding this and you're thinking, no, I won't ride a 250, this bike's a lot bigger than what you think it is, so it might sort of give you a change of mind of what you're getting. So that's about it. I'll give you the comparison against both bikes. So that gives you an idea on the platform from a classic 350 at 195 kilos compared to a Suzuki SX250 at say 170. So when you get onto them, I actually think sitting on both, the classic 350 is a pretty well balanced bike, and you know, it'd be interesting to see which one. If you said to me now which one I think I'd prefer to ride, well, you know I'm going to go this way. Because when I'm out there riding that bike, you know, it's like a trip back in time 50 years and I got fuel injection and ABS. To get on this bike now and ride it, all I am is riding a new bike. So, and we're going to see if it's any good or not. So that will be the big question. So apart from that, once again, we'll go to the ride review now and I'm going to set it up and we're going to take it out and give it a run, and I'll run on the seal stuff and on the bitumen. Then I might swing onto the dirt, see what it runs like and tracks up on a dirt road. So then I'll tell you in between runs out there where I pull over, I'll tell you good and bad points, or good points, or just outright bad points, or stay right away from it. Whatever the case is, I don't know, we'll soon find out. And the fact is, the best thing about it, I own the bike and I'm using my money to tell you what I think of it. So let's go from there. Hi guys, thanks for tuning into the channel today. Unfortunately, you're with Ride with Warro, and we're going out to test the 2023 model Suzuki Vstom 250SX. So maybe you'll enjoy it, maybe you won't. Depends on how things go with this bike. I'm going to do 3 rides on it. I'm going to do an open road ride, which we're heading out to now. And I'm also going to do an around town ride and a dirt road ride. So they're the 3 ones I've got planned for the bike, and we'll see how that idea pans out. First thing I noticed about the bike is I've gone back to the stock seat, and the ride experience is much better on the stock compared to the low seat. So like I said earlier, if you've got no choice and you've got to go low seat, you know, $100, not much, buy it. If it's a little bit better than that and you reckon you can get away with it, don't do it. So that would be the best advice I could give there. So it's just a matter of what you can handle, what you can't. So I'm just going to, you know, make my own mind up about this bike by the time I get to the area to stop, and then I'll tell you what I think of it after that. It's around, you don't know, right? I reckon it feels like about only 6 or 8 degrees. It's not very not very warm at all. We're going to run out along the road here, and I'm going to sit on, once I get past this roundabout, I'll be sitting on 80, then I don't know, I might run it up to 100, just see what it's like that. I'm going to go easy on it because naturally it's a new bike, and I'm not out to punish it just in case I've got to sell it. So, you know, it's just a free ride as in easy ride. Easy rider, eh? I tell you what, that wind's shockingly cold. Tell you what, it swung around through that roundabout quite nicely then. Anyway, let's up the pace and get her on 80. We're virtually on 80 now and I'm in 6th gear. Ask me how the windscreen's going. Not much. Not worth worried about, and pretty hopeless screen really. Wind's giving me a real workout in the face. So I can imagine what it'll be like when I hit 100. I always say you could do a lot worse than ride a motorbike, but geez, today's really just a bad, windy day and not really pleasant at all. One thing about this bike, it's got a gear counter, and I can see just way down there I'm in 6th gear, and I'm cruising at, I don't know, 75, 76 kilometres an hour, and it's got a tacho bar, but I can't see it properly. So we're a bit out of luck there. I'm actually tucked over the bike, leaning over towards the screen, stop the bloody wind from hitting me. I can see out the mirrors. Yeah, pretty good. No, not bad there. Ride quality over those, that bump there when I went over that bridge. I don't know, I suppose it'd be maybe a bit better than an Enfield. But then again, they're no good. Whoa! Just slow it down a bit. Never know when you've got the speed cameras around here. I think where you tuck your legs in towards the tank keeps them a little bit warmer on a day like this. So that's why it's alright. Plenty of quackers in the creek there. It's always good to come out and see some ducks. I said ducks. The knuckle guards, they seem to do a little bit of protection for your hands, so they're not there for nothing. So I'm sitting on about 92 now, and I can feel a little bit of line running through those rubber foot pegs. Bike appears fairly stable, so that's good too. That bloody wind, oh shit. This is all slightly uphill pull along here too. Who's that? Looks like ABC. Might be going to do a news story. Back into 6th gear. I'm not sure what the run is on this. I never checked the bookwork, but I don't know, 80, 90, 100 should be alright. Tried the brakes then on that T section, and they are pretty spongy. And a bit of bounce over those couple of ripples there on the road too. I could have got over here a lot quicker, but like I said, I'm just easy on it, hasn't done many kilometres. Let's see if it's got 100 in it. Yeah, pretty easy to get to 100. was a bit rough. Look at these potholes. Throttle response is good too, don't feel any jerkiness, so that's a bit of a plus too. Nice waterfall down there on the left. You have to walk about 400 metres. Yeah, we might pull up here and have a look in at a local creek here, a bit of talk on the bike. That's providing there's no one here. Nah, looks like I'm the only idiot. I tell you what, since it's rained, it's chopped this up a bit. Wasn't as bad as this when I come down on the Enfield, so just goes to show you how things happen so quick around here in a short period of time. Might be able to get a couple of good photos here too. Look at this mud heap, better not go in there. Might just pull up here. Let's do something I've never done before. So alright, first there'll be a disclosure. Regarding this Suzuki SX250, first off, I didn't even like Suzuki. So I've only ever had 3 over a period of 50 years. 2, I paid full price for it off Suzuki, and well, to be all honest, you can probably look at the other clip, they did the wrong thing by me and sent me the wrong colour. So that would sort of piss you off, you could say. So apart from that, I think a disclosure is pretty good because, I don't know, it makes your clips, I think, a little bit more honest. So, but that's what I think, you know, it might not. So we'll see what happens in that line, and now we'll get on to what I really think about this Suzuki SX250 2023 model. Okay guys, let's get on to my thoughts of this Vstom SX250. It's a good bike. What? I said it is really a good bike. I hate to say it, but what can you do? Like, I've rode it out here along there 90, 100 kilometres an hour a couple of times. I don't know, the bloody thing's probably one of the best bikes I've ridden. And why I say that is, for $64.90, $6,500, I don't even bloody like Suzukis, and I've got to get here and tell you that it's a pretty good bike. I mean, I should have been on them probably earlier if they're like this, but I honestly always thought they were heaps of shit, to be honest. But that's the way it goes, I suppose. I don't know, there's not much I can say apart from this little 250 is one of the best bikes I've been on. And I've been on 65 new bikes over 10 years. And probably 80 in total if I count some of the other second-hand ones, but I don't usually count them. But I don't know, it's bloody thing goes along at 80, 90, 100 kilometres an hour at the moment. Virtually no vibration in the bars, a little bit in the foot peg. Just swings around those corners like it's on rails. And the price, $6,500. You can't even compete with it. Look at those crappy little overpriced CT125, $8,000 here, well overpriced. If you look at me, two Kawasaki, well I had 2 of the CT125s, well overpriced. All they get you there is some nostalgia, and they got no go. This one here does go along all right, and I reckon later on when it's running, it'll probably run along at 100 easy, which it does, and I reckon it'll probably cruise at 110, 120. It's hard to say. But I would say it would because it just feels like it goes. The suspension, short, the rear end, or arse of it, is a little bit heavy or hard, and you do feel the bumps, but I'm used to riding Enfields, you know, you feel everything on an Enfield, including the price what they charge you. So there's nothing there, you know, it sort of surprised me that way. What surprised me, when you're riding along, you got your arms out here like that, I could look into it and see through the mirrors all right. So for me, 5'9", I was 85 kilos, I'm now 78 now because remember I'm on that diet and I'm doing a bit of exercise. So I've dropped a few kilos there, so I'm not quite as well fed as I used to be. But I could see in the mirrors all right, there was no vibration, so I had a pretty clear image. I'd rate it 9 out of 10, like as far as looking out the mirror. I wouldn't have to say I'll go and get a new set of mirrors for it or anything like that. As far as the engine goes, engine's fairly, I don't know, I'd have to say silky smooth. It's really, really a smooth experience when you're going along, and you can hardly hear it. I've got a mic set up on the back exhaust, and I might be able to get you a little bit of an exhaust note as it goes along. I'm not sure, but you know, we'll give that a go. And I was only running the one camera up front over the speedo. I really liked the part where you could get down and look at it, and there was a gear indicator there. But just like, I honestly thought I was coming out to take this for a ride, one ride, and then sell a heap of crap. But I tell you what, it's a bloody good bike. For $6,500, you could ride it, I reckon, get in there, and not here, back up in there, ride it up there along the dirt tracks and see how it goes. And you know, what surprised me, how well it tracks around the corners. Like it just swings into the corners really easy. And I would say, I'd have to say it's one of the best handlers I've been on, and I'm not even pushing it along. But I've been on all the other bikes. See, I ride the same areas time and time again. Like these roads, they just see me coming along and say, not you again. That's how much I ride those same roads. So as far as that goes, I didn't feel any twitchiness or jerkiness in the throttle. And there's a rainbow trout just jumping down. As I was looking past the bike, this creek is filled with rainbow trout. One just jumped over there. I may have to come back one day with the rod and give it a workout. So I'm back to the stock seat now, and I'm up to, I don't know, 33 inches or something like that. It's 835mm. I can notice I'm up a little bit higher, but it's a more softer ride. So the ride quality is good. Like I said, the engine really is, I don't know, you've got to say it's a credit to Suzuki. It is really a smooth thing. It's a lot smoother engine than what's on the classic 350, and it's got a little bit of vibe, but this hasn't got much at all. I mean, look at bikes that vibe bad. Classic 500s, Honda CRF 300L, really knockers. CB 500Xs, a really good power hit along the bars. This one here, really nothing. So I don't know, there's only one thing wrong with this bike, I think, and that would be Suzuki selling it too cheap. On today's market, where could you pick up something like this for $6,500 when the price should be, I don't know, maybe $7,250, something like that? And I still reckon it'd be worth $7,250, but for $6,500, and in my case, when I get me top box, I've got a real bargain. So I don't know, I reckon you could get on this bloody thing and ride it around Australia if you wanted to, because it'd do it, and it seems to run along all right. And the other thing is, oh come on Warren, it can't be all bloody positive. What negative you got to say about it? Well, I better get off here in case I fall in that bloody hole, and I'll have somebody come out to get me. So the windscreen's up the shit. If you rated the windscreen out of 10, 0 being bad and 10 being really good, I don't know, the windscreen could be a 1 or it could be a 2, but it'll never be a 10. And there's no adjustment on it either by the looks of it, so you can't do nothing there either. So that's one really negative side of it there, windscreen. Somebody asked me about those rubber foot pegs. Can the rubber pieces come off? They can. You can actually, oh, I had a look under there, 2 bolts there, unbolt it, and you can get rid of that. So, geez, I tell you what, it's the riding position's all right. Your knees are tucked in at the thing. It's really, oh yeah, the brakes are up the shit. The front brakes at this stage are spongy. But don't be too concerned about that at the moment, because it's only early days, and I found that these look like they're made by the same company what on Enfield and everything else, Vibri, or what do they call them? The poor man's good quality brake. Anyway, as far as that goes, I found it on sometimes in Enfields it might take 500 to 1,000 or kilometres before they start working really well. So there's a plus there. Now, a couple of other people asked about the ABS system. Well, it's got ABS front and rear because it's got 19 front, 17 back, dual channel ABS, non-switchable. So, and what someone else mentioned to me, it pretty come the wire wheels. I mean, I get some, honestly, I really think I get some stupid questions. You're buying a bike for $6,500, next you'll be saying, are they going to chuck in a free meal? It's bloody ridiculous. The more you ask, those cast wheels are alright, you're only paying $6.5, you'll go out, go for a bit of a ride. If you want something more, this is the best way, and I keep telling people all the time, and they get the shits. If you want a better bike, you pay a better price. It's friggin' simple. Bring out your money, go and buy it, you get all the works, and then you say to yourself, oh, it's too heavy, I can't do this, I can't do that. Now, this ride experience today, you say, all right, Warren, what makes you think you know a bit about these bike rides and stuff like that? Okay, quick history again. Been riding and driving 50 years, mainly driving but riding again the last 10. Over that period, I've had 150 cars and I've had 80 motorbikes. Out of that one there, I was watching a review the other day on the bike, and this bloke said, I'm going to have to ride the bike 1,000 kilometres before I know if it's any good or not. And I was thinking to myself at that, what sort of idiot needs 1,000 kilometres to decide if anything's any good or not, when you should be able to decide on one good ride if it's worth buying? You shouldn't have to ride it for 1,000. If that was the case on me, I would have had to ride what I've had, a minimum of 230,000 kilometres to do a 1,000 kilometre review on each item, if that was the case. And that would be fairly stupid, wouldn't it? If you tell me you've been riding motorbikes, that's like going to a doctor and the doctor says, you say such, and they said, oh, I'm going to have to get 3 or 4 more patients in and discuss that with them, and then I can give you an answer what it's like or what your problem is. Well, what would you say? Oh, Jesus, I've picked the wrong doctor. When you get to those places and they want 1,000 kilometres, they don't know nothing about it. This is what they're doing. They're clickbaiting, and they want you to come back and get on the channel and help. Where I don't even ask for subs or anything anymore, and I couldn't care less. I just go out and ride them, give you a good honest review. All right, how would I rate this out of 10 overall? Value for money, 10 out of 10. There's just nothing that'll compete with this bike for that sort of money. It's just that far ahead of everything for $6.5. Anyone that doesn't buy one of these is totally mad. Or they could be like me who dislikes Suzuki's, but I don't know, like I'm sorry I did the wrong thing by Suzuki. But it's just a bloody good bike. I can't get over how good it is for $6,500 right away, no more to pay, and I end up getting a top box. I've had some real heaps of shit where I've paid at least $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 or more for them, and one ride, and they are heading towards Gumtree or bike sales, and I'm happy to drop a few thousand to get rid of the crap. Yeah, so I said value for money, 10 out of 10. Overall ride experience and everything I've sort of experienced, whether, like when I talk ride experience, seating position's good, not perfect, but good. Seat's a little bit firm, even with the bigger one on it, but that's the way it goes. Your suspension is more basic. I suppose if you want to, you can upgrade and later on put a better shock on the rear, it'll help you that way. As far as that goes, steering, really good, nice to steer, got no complaints whatsoever. I thought I'd have a little bit of trouble with this one because the handlebars, they're not used to the ones I'm riding. The handlebar goes inside the bearing, and you just see the handlebars move left and right, where I'm used to the end wheels where the headlight goes with it. So that's a little bit of getting used to. You know, you get a set of plastic handguards, that'd save you a couple $100 buying anything till you break them. A bit of a sump protector. Gear box, well, the 6-speed box in it, and it's got a 6. I do find you have to point your toe in a little bit to get it, or you could miss it. Now, that's also on an Interceptor 650. Same sort of thing, point your foot in, like so, change it. But after a while, you get used to it, it takes no notice of that. Tyres on it look pretty good. I'm going to take this out and give it a work out in some of those hills where I've been riding the other one. You know, the hills are alive with the sound of Warrow, yeah man. So, you know, I've got a few good plans for this one, and I think with this yellow and the red stripe, and those red striping around the wheels cost me about, I don't know, $80 or $100 extra for the two of them. I don't know, as you've heard the story before, I like it, so I wasn't coming out here with the intention and saying to you, this is the best bike ever. I was hoping, well I wasn't hoping, but I was expecting to come out here and say, geez, that Suzuki's a heap of shit, and I wouldn't waste your money buying it, and I thought I would have been giving you good advice. But I can't get out here, even though I've only bought 3 and I've never been a lover of Suzuki, I just can't get out here and say to you something that isn't true. It's a bloody good bike, very good value for money, nice smooth bike to ride. I would have to say, I'm just trying to think there, geez, it's not far behind that Yamaha scooter for smoothness of ride. Now, if anyone's ridden a Yamaha X-Max scooter, they are the smoothest to ride. They leave motorbikes for dead, a scooter as far as the smooth ride goes. I once bought a Honda PCX 160, and that was the outright, that's smooth to ride. It was like riding a magic carpet, but it was gutless. So, you know, gutless things aren't much good to you because you'll get yourself into trouble, and you know, you do silly things on it. And that bloody trout's jumping again down there. Oh, once I used to be a really keen trout fisherman. I'd do anything to catch a trout, and I'll go down there and have a look in a minute, and I'll just make sure I'm looking on the ground here because I'd be in prime black snake territory here. So let's get back to this. The tank and that, you know, tank's nice big one. You can grip it there with your legs and that. I really think, I'm looking over it now, I can't really think of anything apart from that windscreen as the number one against it. So apart from that, there's really nothing much you can sort of go into this bike and knock. The gear shift, I never had any trouble. I never had one false neutral when I was going along. I never had one missed gear. I pulled along gears all right, and I'm only taking it easy. I didn't take it hard up on the hills or anything. I'd made up my mind by the time if you listen back on the clip where I say I'm going easy on this hill, and I went up in the 5th gear behind that car, I knew then how good this bike was, and there was no need for me to get out here and flog the shit of it along these back roads and then say, stuff it now, I'll put it up, I'm going to lose $1,500 or more, I'll put it up and give it a hiding first before I get rid of it so I've got some money out of it before I do it. I knew by then that this was a really, really good bike. And I have not been on very many really, really good bikes, even though I throw a bit of money around and buy a lot of bikes. Just because they're all new models doesn't mean they're any good. They're like cars. You know, you get lemons anywhere. Like this may be lemon in colour, but it's definitely rich in value. So well, there goes a cycle boy now. He's not going very fast. I could pass him real easy if I was heading back there now, and he'd know what it's like to be passed by a Vstom SX. So as far as that goes, you know, when you look at things, when I was looking at the seat there, there's a little bit of under-seat storage there, not much, but enough to hide anything valuable and lock at the side so people would have a bit of trouble getting into. To start the bike, you have to be a little bit tricky sort of thing. You got, once it's in neutral, you pull the clutch in. It must have that, I don't know, connector on the clutch to stop it from going there. And you know, all the information on the dash, even though I was going on the way there and couldn't read it, you know, it still had the tacho, your speedo, your odometer, and you know, stuff like that, rev counter, all that sort of stuff. And your headlights came out when I came out to get on the bike, nice and bright, that LED at the front. But all the indicators and the other stuff are just bulb. So, you know, when you look at it, I did find when I was going out there and hitting a few rough bumps, the front end went over it all right. It was just over the back, it was a bit rough. So, you know, a lot of these people that get on and complain about stuff, one, especially road testers and other people who buy something, I don't know, they might be miserable people, and well, they got no money to play with or stuff like that. So when I go in to buy something, I come in with the intention, buy it, evaluate it for what it's worth, is it a heap of shit or not? So I've evaluated this 10 out of 10 for value. Overall on the bike, I don't know, I'd have to give it a out of 10, and I've never done this before. I reckon it's around 8 or 9. It's really bloody high. I mean, you could buy this bike and say, I'll piss off all the other shit and I could just ride this. But if you said to me, okay Warro, this or your classic 350, yeah, alright, I'd buy the classic 350. And the reason being an old shit at 70, I'm more suited on a classic 350, and it sort of goes with your age, compared to if I'm sitting on this, it's not the same. Now, is this a better bike than the classic 350? I think it is, but has it got nostalgia or all the other stuff that goes with the classic 350? No, this just looks like a new motorbike of the era, and that's about it. Where the classic, when I get on the classic, I feel that good that I've dropped back 50 years in time. All I can do on this one is get out and ride dirt, and if I was a younger bloke I could probably have a lot of more fun on it that way. But I usually ride by myself, even though I get offers for other people to ride with me. I had a bad experience about 10 years ago with a bloke where he almost ran into me when I was riding with him, first time ever, and I made up my mind then, I'm not going with anyone, I don't give a stuff about it, I'm just not going, and that's all there is to it. So, looking at it that way, you know, for me, who's a dedicated Enfield lover, and I've had 20 of them, for me to say, you know, it's a hard choice between these, and I'd still pick the Enfield, but this is the better bike, you know, like I should go and throw myself in the river, because, you know, I've gone against all my principles. Like, I never come out here thinking on this ride that I'd be putting this thing here against my favourite bike and have to decide, and all I'm going for in the Enfield if I buy it is a nostalgia boat, and this one will do everything better. So I don't know, you just can't win some days. Oh well, you can, I've already got the bike, so and I won't have to lose $1,500 putting it on Gumtree or bike sales just to get rid of it, because I reckon I would have got rid of it pretty quick. And as far as that goes, I don't know, I hate to say it, but a credit to Suzuki, they've put together a really good package at a good price. Now, like I said earlier, anyone that gets there complaining about why it should have spoke wheels, it should have better suspension, my advice to you guys is bring your wallet out like I do, take your cash down and buy a better bike, and that way you're not shooting your mouth off about something which I'm telling you is really good value for money in stock form for what it is. And what do you expect? You want a bar of chocolate or something with it to make it sort of more sweeter deal. So, you know, if you look at things that way, I can only tell you as I see it, and believe me, if this was a heap of crap, I would have really give it to you and told you what a heap of crap it is. Now, as far as any crap, that rear, the low seat, I'm telling you now, I wouldn't waste $100 buying one of those unless you really have no choice, because now I'm back on this one here, the normal. It's a better ride, and I can't really notice much of a difference. It's simple as that. The one other thing, I asked what the service costs were on this one, and I was told probably it might cost $400 for the first service. You know what my chances of giving the dealer $400 for a first service? None. Zero. I reckon I can, I checked over in India, all they do on these in the first service is oil and filter changes, put a bit of grease on them. I reckon you could do that for $30 or $35. You could do that. And you say, oh yeah, Warren, yeah, you'll lose your warranty. And my answer to that one, who gives a stuff? I don't care. If it blows up or something like that and have a bit of fun out of it, I'll just go and buy another one. I don't bloody care about that crap. If I was worried, but I really hate paying dealers for anything, and I will not pay anything as far as first service goes, unless I have an issue with this bike and it gives me some reason. Now, even then, say for example, the way I think, if I had a problem with this bike, there's two things that go through my mind. One, will I have more problems? Or two, can I cash it and get rid of it? They're the two things that go through my mind, and try again. I never get there saying, oh geez, I'll put up with this, I'll put up with that. and see what's going on. I don't work like that. I never have, and I haven't done for 50 years, and I'm not going to bloody start with one of these now. So that's the way I think. So as far as that goes, you come here, you know, a lot of people don't like my attitude, how I think, but the thing is, when you leave, I'll give you a good honest review. I've never asked you to sub. I'm not hoping you'll stay around so that I'll get a few dollars off my stupid ads, because the bit of money I made for Eclipse, I tell you what, bloody wouldn't buy you a Chiquito bar, and I don't think you can buy them anymore anyway. But as far as that goes, all I'm here to give you good advice. If you're on the fence and you're after a bike like a Vstom and you want to run it out on the road, because my next clip will be around town, so if you want to just run it out along town and take it on runs, very, very good bike. And it looks even better, but the best thing about it is those red stripes that were supposed to be for my orange bike, they look pretty good on this, and also me tread pattern of the tyres look all right. So I don't know, if I was going bad, and meaning bad, I had no money to buy anything, I would settle for this. If you said to me, now, which is the best value, this Vstom SX, or you talk about how good your X-Max is? This is a lot better value than the S-Max. I don't know how they can charge 10 grand and $50 for the X-Max compared to something like this, which is really a better bike. I think because people who buy scooters at times, or other bikes and pay the price, have got more money than sense is the best way to put it nicely. So as far as that goes, well, you know, I just think the bike manufacturers try to rip you off the best they can. Just like the CT125, they know there's $1 there to get up people who want some nostalgia ride. They got me twice there at 7,800 twice, but I just wanted the trip back in time, and I got my trip back in time on it twice, one red one and one tan one. And I will say the nearest competition in this sort of a bike I was thinking would be the KLX 150 at around $5,300, $5,400. There's bloody no comparison between a KLX 150 and this. The KLX 150 might be $1,200 cheaper, and it's got 21 front, 18 back, 19 here, 17 back, but the fact is, it's carby, and carbies are bloody old school now. The only bloody people who like carby are those old farts, and I don't class myself as one of them because I like fuel injection. I know what it was like when I had all the cars and I had to get down and get somebody to tune a 4-barrel carby, what's on a friggin' GT Falcon or some other shit or something from the Maras, and all those days like that. There was more trouble then, and they can't even do it now because, why now? Because all the mechanics are what, PPs, aren't they? Plug and play. So as far as that goes, I'm not going to go trip back in time with that shit. And the last KLX 150 didn't go any good, and it was really not as good as the first one I had, and I decided I'd move it and get it out, and I think I only done about a couple hundred Ks and I'd had enough. But this one here, I think, there's a couple of people up there on the road just watching an idiot here talking into a camera. But that's the way it goes, and you know, idiots got to find time to fill in somewhere, and across here in this nice little creek coming past, all good. So apart from that, I can't help you any more, apart from the next one will be a round town ride, and then when I put a few kilometres, I'm going to take it out, and you know where I lost control nearly on the Enfield on the top of that hill, and geez, that was close. I mean, that day it happened that quick, didn't scare me, but it happened fast. I'm going to go back there and give this bike a run up that hill. So just for curiosity's sake, to see if a little bit better or tyres do a good job, but I've got to put a few Ks on it because I don't want to run the guts out of it. So apart from that, that's about all I can tell you about this. If you're on the fence, regardless whether you think I talk crap to you or not, the fact is I always give you a good honest opinion. Whether you take it, that's yours. I've got no reason not to tell you a good honest review because I don't make anything out of you, so I don't care. I only back into bikes to fill in a bit of time and get a bit of a pleasure, right? Get out buying different bikes and riding them and see what I think of them, and if they're any good I keep them. But I rate this bike really really high. It's a good looking bike too. I'm going to take a couple of photos here before I leave, and getting a bit overcast now, so it should be a good run. So you know, the only driving modes on it is dual channel ABS, and the best thing about it's fuel injected. So that's where it beats the little KLX 150, $1,200 cheaper, but it's a lot less powerful. And you can feel this has got a little bit at 26. It's up like a 500 Enfield. Nothing like a CB500X, they're a lot more powerful than this. So, but what I am impressed, I always class, and I've said this before, someone laugh about it, I always think I'm a vibration expert on the bikes because I've been on some terrors and I pick it up real quick. This is a really smooth bike to ride. So if vibration worries you, won't worry you on this, or you are really a soft person, because I pick it up real easy and I found this adequate. And although remember, I've only been running along at 80, 90 and occasionally once or twice up to 100. It may be different after you get in, or it may be better. But if you get on here and you hear people knocking this bike, for example, or something like that, take no notice of them, because they don't know what they're talking about. They're a person that's bought 1, 2 or 3 bikes and knows nothing. You've got to really talk to someone who either has a lot of experience on different things and can make up their mind quick. I will not have to ride this 1,000 kilometres to tell you how good a bike it is. It's just outright 10 out of 10 value for money, and around 8 or 9 overall is a bike worth buying. And if you say to me, all right, well, I will put you on a spot, rate the Classic 500 out of 10, and should you buy one? I'd put a Classic 500 and take into account about 15 of them. I would rate it, I don't know, maybe 3 out of 10. Why did you buy so many? Well, I bought so many because each year I thought they might get better, and one day I'd get a good one. Then one day the Classic 350 Reborn came out with the J motor, and I got the good one. And I bought 2 of them because I thought I'd buy a second one as a reserve in case the first one shits itself like the other bikes. Not the case. I've been riding at 8,000 kilometres now and end up getting rid of one, and in all honesty I'm going back in 2 weeks to buy a 350 Hunter. And why? I don't know. I suppose the best answer is because I can. So, but I tell you what, they really hate the answers I give them sometimes, but that's life. But as far as that goes, I hope you enjoyed this bit of a talk. I've done the right thing. I've went out, I've given you a good honest review on the bike.